We are joined by the Chief Executive of Laois County Council. John, how are you today?
I'm very well, John, and we picked a nice day for it, didn't we?
I mean, all the bees buzzing there. I mean, it's just alive with pollinators.
Yeah, and it just shows how you can have biodiversity in an urban setting, and every little square inch helps.
Absolutely.
You know, and it kind of brings us closer to nature. And that's what a lot of people like to see, you know, as part of their town. And so the heart of Portlaoise has to be established, consolidated and developed sensitively. And so this is part of it. We were fortunate to get funding under the Urban Regeneration Development Fund. This was part of it. We submitted proposals for a town park that commemorates past achievements in aviation, but also brings people together in the locality. This and a number of other projects. Portlaoise is our county town, and so we have to be able to expose its past and existing assets. I'm delighted to say we've had nothing but absolute collaboration, agreement, cooperation from the various stakeholders, including Tidy Towns, Downtown Portlaoise, Chamber of Commerce more latterly, and people who reside in the area to say, okay, it shouldn't be led by local authority in terms of pushing it down your throat. This is kind of from the bottom up, to use that phrase, you know. Say, what would you like to see? Don't be afraid of differences of creativity in particular, and we see that on the main street. People have come out and they have done their own thing, as it were, to try and attract customers, but also to make a feeling that the town is welcoming. And so in the broader context, if you go out to the Abbey Leaks Road or the Dublin Road, you see a lot of the same thing. It takes a lot of resources, but the effort will always be there, I will maintain. And it encourages local residents associations like those up in Kilminchy, for example, to look after their own place and to say it's appreciated, acknowledged, and the council will support it. Plus, we try to, on our own right, the council, to put resources into the planting, the maintenance of green spaces, and all of that for a growing urban area. One, it's extremely important, but secondly, it must be consistent and endure for the next 10 years, 20 years, and that takes a bit of resources and expertise. That's part of the building of public realm and building of a community in the real sense. You know, if you have people in your house, you know, that come down from, let's say, Donegal or Kerry, have a walk around town. Oh, but sure, there's nothing in Portlaoise. Come down and see what's here.
And speaking of the county going forward, I mean, and obviously our local councillors were looking at all the submissions for the upcoming county development.
Yes.
I mean, down the line, in your personal capacity, if you take off your chief executive hat, what else would you like to see happen in Portlaoise and be provided in the town?
Well, in my personal capacity, I think things like the environment for safe cycling, reduction perhaps of car numbers. Now, that's not to say you're anti-car, don't get me wrong. It's to say think before you sit in the car, particularly on a day like this. I mean, the benefits for health and all that and mobility, particularly at old lads my age, you know, to get around walking or cycling is very good. But there's a whole services like that, and they're incremental, John, they're piece by piece. That gradually you look back at 5 years and say, isn't this great? We've achieved this. We've achieved information signage. We've achieved access to, you know, better recycling or cycling facilities if I mix those two together. You know, all these things, and that is as a town develops. So the way I see it is that every 5 years you should be able to look back and say it's a better place than it was then. And particularly the old town centre, it has so much going for it. And we have a number of sources of funding for that to make it a really pleasant place. Ease of pedestrian access, ease of wayfinding, all that, points of interest. You know, these are points of interest behind us here, a story that really hasn't been told. And we have a lot of new community in Portlaoise. If you take it from the 90s until now, you could easily argue that there's about 15,000 people living in Portlaoise who probably don't know anything about the history of the town, its heritage. And you can see other places like Youghal, Kilkenny, Westport, Galway will make something out of their heritage. You know, to say this is part of who we are.
Absolutely. So the report card would be Portlaoise has done well in the last 5 years?
Yes.
can do much better.
Oh,
and with the buy-in from Laois County Council,
yeah.
all the groups, for example, the Tidy Towns group
Yeah.
and the local community,
Yeah.
we can push it better.
Look, it's like most things, it's striving for continuous improvement. And people will have their ideas, their say. Some people who might not have thought of investing or setting up business in Portlaoise might have a second look at it now and say, look, it has great access. The town centre is vibrant,
Yes.
it's attractive, it's colourful,
Absolutely.
there's young people in it. Let's think about maybe putting out some of our business here or setting up.
Absolutely.
And you know, we've space for that as well. Behind us,
Yes.
over your right shoulder there,
Yes.
is the heart of the cultural quarter
Yes.
with the turret
Yes.
from 1547. This is where Portlaoise began. Inside there's a plane, the older plane.
Correct.
Beyond that is the Scoil Mhuire, which was a school and is now the School of Music for young people.
Yes.
And there's an entertainment open area there that can be used for outdoor concerts, plays, winter festivals, Easter festivals, whatever you like. The council bought that with that in mind, that give it back to the people. And with a bit of imagination, you know, you can make it into something that's going to attract a lot of people in there. Behind the library as well, which is an education reading centre and local information, genealogy and so on. So that's why we're calling it the Cultural Quarter. And it's so close to hostelries and businesses that really there isn't a huge amount of effort to get from one place to the other.
Exactly.
And yet at the same time you're going to be living in the place, you know, older people or people, you know, who need housing solutions
Yes.
will have access to all of that.
The heart of Portlaoise
Yeah.
will become bigger
Yeah,
and healthier.
well, better, we would say.
Better. Very good.
better. Yeah. And I'm delighted to have this opportunity to talk to you, John, because I haven't really done much of these type of kind of face-to-face interviews in the last while for obvious reasons. But if I do take my hat off to Portlaoise Tidy Towns and to the town team and to others in the community, it's sincerely meant because they are really a pleasure to work with.